Hey guys. I'm feeling a bit under the weather today, but we're here, we're doing the thing. Today we're going to be macrameing something. It's been a while. I have honed in on any macrame skills that were buried deep within me. I actually created a macrame plant hanger. I didn't even copy anybody for this one, you guys. I'm proud of myself, let's just say that. So this is a very easy to do macrame plant hanger. It only uses 2 knots, really only 1 knot because one of them is like the easiest knot known to mankind. Let's just get into it. First, you are going to need some supplies for the macrame hanger, of course. A hoop or something to actually put your hanger on. I just have these little gold metal hoops that I got from Amazon. I will link them as well as any of the other products I used for this in the description box down below. 4mm macrame cord. This is my absolute favorite one. You will also need some scissors, something to measure your cording with, or you can just eyeball it if you're feeling spicy. I'm not ballsy enough for that, so I measure. Tape. You'll see how I use this in the actual tutorial. One of these back of door hangers. So you like slide this over the top of the door. You can put your little hoop there and work off of that. It makes it really, really easy. It keeps it all stable. Oh, and you'll need a plant to put in there, of course. So for my macrame plant hanger, I cut 8 15-foot long cords. You can definitely change the amount of cords you use. Obviously, the more you add, the wider your design is going to be, but just be sure that as you're adding cords, you're adding them in sets of 2 cords. We're going to attach the macrame cording to the hoop itself, and to do this, line up the edges of one of your cords and pull all the way to the center so that you end up with a center loop. Then you're going to put that loop through your metal ring you're using to hang your planter from, to hang the macrame from, and you're going to pull the two tail ends through that loop and pull it tight, and you're going to repeat that with all of your cords. Next, you're going to be sure you have the right amount of cords on there by grouping them into sets of 4. I ended up with 4 sets of 4 cords. Starting on whichever side, you're going to take the outermost 4 cords and create a square knot, and here is how you do a square knot. Within your group of 4 cords, take the outside left cord and make a 4 over top of the 2 center cords. Then you're going to take the outside right cord. It is going to go over top of the tail end of a left string that you made the 4 with, underneath the 2 center cords and up through the hoop of the 4. Then you're going to go ahead and pull that tight using the outermost right string in that group of 4. You are going to create a backwards 4, and then the outermost left string is going to go over top that tail end, underneath the 2 center cords and up through the backwards 4 loop. Then you're going to go ahead and pull it tight, and that is a square knot. You're going to do an entire row of square knots. So you'll end up, if you're using the same amount of strings I am, you'll end up with 4 square knots on the top row. Then you're going to move to the next row, leaving out the outermost 2 strands on each side. You're going to create 3 square knots using the 12 center strings. Move to the next row and reintroduce those outermost strands, and you're going to repeat what we did on the first row and create 4 square knots. So you'll end up with something like 4 3 4. You can of course keep doing this as thick as you want your knotted section to be. Then is when we are going to go in with our tape. This helps keep everything lined up really nicely. The tape kind of helps give you a guideline of where to stop tightening your square knots. So you'll end up with an even row. So I ended up just pressing 3 pieces of tape down onto the macrame cord. Then you're just going to repeat this for about as long as you want your macrame plant hanger to be. Once you've knotted your last section, you're going to move about 10 inches, 8 to 10 inches-ish, down on the cords to start knotting some more, and this is where our pot is actually going to go. So something to keep in mind when you're deciding where this next row is going to sit is the less space you give, the harder it's going to be to squeeze a plant in there, and the more space you give, then the easier it'll be and the bigger pot you'll be able to fit in there, if that makes sense. So go ahead and add a row of tape so we end up with some more even square knots at about that 10-inch mark, and you're going to create 4 more square knots just as we did on the very, very first row. Then you can go ahead and take off that tape. This is where it gets a little bit confusing to explain. Your next row of square knots is going to be about another 6 inches down, so we're going to move 6 more inches down, except not add tape this time. You're going to bring the 2 outermost square knots forward and leave the 2 center ones back. Combine 2 strings from forward left square knot and the forward right square knot, and you are going to tie another square knot with those 4 strands together about 6 inches down from where the last row of square knots was. And you're going to repeat that all the way around. So then with the other 2 strings on each side, you're going to tie them into a square knot with 2 strings from the next door neighbor square knot that we're keeping in the back of the macrame, if that makes sense. Cords, so 2 from each of the back square knot cords, you're going to create another square knot with those 4. I hope that made sense. So then you can see, if you kind of stick your hands in there, how it forms like a cocoon of square knots where our plant pot is going to sit quite comfortably. Then just another couple inches down, you're going to gather all of the cords and just tie a regular knot with them all together. And to make sure this is very tight and everything's all even, go in one by one and pull each cord as tight as you can, just to make sure this knot isn't going to come undone or sit unevenly. Of course, this is optional. I like to unravel and really brush out the end of my macrame and make it really fluffy looking. I personally just like the look of that better, but it looks really nice if you don't do that as well. So with the macrame cord I linked in the description, it is very, very easy to get that unraveled. Some cording you have to really work at to get it undone, but this one is very, very easy. Yeah, if you like the unraveled look, then I highly recommend the one I'm using. Then of course you're just going to add your little plant. I put a heart leaf philodendron in there and hang it wherever you want it. Oh, and a little trick, people ask me all the time how I water my hanging plants, especially the long vining ones where you don't want to have to pull the plant out of the macrame every single time you water. Usually I'll either just put one of those plastic tray saucer things underneath the pot, catch any excess water, or to bottom water. I do prefer to bottom water even my hanging plants, so that's what I do. I'm quite proud of this, so I'm very interested to see what you guys think of it. If you plan to recreate it, please let me know, and if you do, tag me in your photos on Instagram. I would love to see what you end up doing with this very, very easy to do. If I can do it, you can do it, I promise you that. Macrame plant hanger. I had a lot of fun doing this. I definitely plan to come up with some more easy macrame plant hanger designs that might be a little bit different than the most basic ones we see. So that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one.